Hey guys, Spanky the Walrus here, and listen up. I like to read the Bible. Do you guys like to read the Bible? I mean, sure, there's a lot of confusing stuff in there, but it's really cool. And sometimes if you look at things behind just what the Bible says and learn a little bit of context around it, you'll find some really cool stuff. For example, I was reading John chapter 3 today. Now, we all love John chapter 3. It's got John 3:16 in it. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. We all know it. We all cherish it. We put it on our eye black when we play football or baseball. It's a cool thing. But you know what? The Bible's more than just a couple of these little verses. If you look at John chapter 3, there's a lot of cool things going on. But I want to tell you a story about John chapter 3 that you might not know, because you have to study a little deeper. So check this out. Jesus probably spoke 3 languages. He spoke Aramaic because that's what people spoke where he lived. He would have spoke a little bit of Greek because of the Roman Empire. They wanted everybody to speak Greek. Kind of like how in America we really want people to speak English, right? So he would have spoke Aramaic and Greek. And being Jewish, he would have been able to speak Hebrew. For crying out loud, he would have memorized the Torah as a kid in Hebrew, right? So Jesus spoke 3 languages. And you know what? The Bible, it wasn't originally written in English. It's been translated. So John was written originally in Greek. Here's something interesting. When you see being born again and being born from above, in Greek, there's this weird word play. Like there's a joke, basically, that Jesus tells. And Nicodemus doesn't get it. And so when Jesus is telling Nicodemus this stuff, there's a joke. Nicodemus doesn't get the joke. And Jesus is like, what do you mean you don't get it? You're a teacher in Israel. You should get this. But we miss that whole thing because it gets translated really weird in English. But here's another thing to think about. Nicodemus would have spoke those 3 languages too. Aramaic, Hebrew, and, you got it, Greek. So, but see, Aramaic would have been their first language, the language that they spoke everywhere. And like religiously, they would have spoke Hebrew. It's probably what they spoke in the temple, right? So that would have been like their second language. But really, Greek was just this language that people wanted them to know, right? But they didn't know very well. But see, the fact that this wordplay appears in John chapter 3 tells us that the conversation had to have taken place in Greek. Imagine that. A language that you don't know very well, you speak in. Why would Nicodemus talk to Jesus in Greek? That doesn't make any sense. They would have spoke Aramaic or Hebrew. Why the third language? When you scratch your hat, you don't feel anything. Anyway, so really what was going on here is Nicodemus was kind of scared, right? Nicodemus was this really powerful guy, and he didn't want to be caught dead talking to Jesus about these things, especially by his buddies. So he meets Jesus to talk at night. So I'm sure that they were talking at night and whispering about these things, right? In fact, they were talking about these things so quietly so nobody could hear that Nicodemus spoke in Greek. Because see, if someone happened to have heard what they were saying, it's easier for you to catch a conversation in your own language. And it's easier to catch maybe in your second language. But your third language, you're not listening to your third language. So Nicodemus and Jesus have this chat in the middle of the night, and they're whispering, and they're even speaking in a third language. That'd be like if you were trying to do Pig Latin when you're having a conversation so no one knows what you're saying. And I don't know how to do Pig Latin. I'm 38 years old, and I don't know how to do Pig Latin. And it's so sad. But anyway, the point is, the Bible's full of interesting stories like this, but you have to study it a little bit deeper. But what I want you to think about is how scared Nicodemus was to talk to Jesus. He was so afraid of what everybody else would think. But you know what he did? He figured out a way, and he did it anyway. So here's the advice I have for you. You might be scared to be a Christian because at school they might make fun of you, right? Or maybe you don't want to be a Christian because it's not the cool thing to do. Or whatever. You might be scared because some of the things that you have to do with Christianity might be hard. Like, there are some things that you should do that are good that you don't want to do. Or maybe there are bad things that you do that you don't want to stop doing. I know. It's hard. But it's worth it. So if you're scared, be like Nicodemus. Find a way. Even if it's in the middle of the night. Even if you're whispering. Even if you've got to speak a third language. Talk to Jesus. Pray. Talk to Jesus. Even if you're scared. And I guarantee it, you'll be thankful for it. Anyway, I'm Spanky the Walrus. I hope this helped. Love y'all.